This is Yin Center. This is a sad episode to bring you guys again. But, with the circumstances surrounding this one, this was a tough one to take in. Really.
Yeah. The entire hockey community is hurting this past week. For those that don't know, Johnny Gaudreau and his brother Matthew both lost their lives last Thursday. And they were biking and got hit by a drunk driver. And the night before their sister's wedding, no less, in their childhood neighborhood. So all of our thoughts and sympathies are with the Gaudreau family and everybody affected by this. Everybody in Calgary, where Johnny was for I think like 8 years, and then Columbus, where he spent the last little bit.
Boston College,
BC, yeah. I mean,
and obviously that New Jersey community as well.
Right, yeah, where he grew up in, and his brother, and I mean, I've seen pictures from all of the rinks, but from the rink there in New Jersey where his brother Matthew started becoming like a high school hockey coach there in the last couple of years, and there's memorials with sticks, skates, Gaudreau jerseys, Columbus, Calgary, BC. I mean, it's heartbreaking because everybody I feel like knew that Johnny Gaudreau was just that dude. He was just amazing, and then you have something horrific like this happen, and you come to find out that he was exactly the person that everybody thought he was on and off the ice, and
it just hits because it's similar. It's similar in age to us,
Yeah, I mean,
they're 31 and 29 years old.
Yeah, Matty was a year older than me, and Johnny was a year younger than you. I mean, I remember, like, I've basically like grown up going all throughout teenage years, watching World Junior Championships and whatnot, and man, going back in my memory banks, it feels like Johnny was on that, like the first team I remember watching growing up, like whenever I was first making the team back whenever I was in the U.S. program. I mean, and I remember that team winning gold, and I feel like in my head that's. I mean, I had already had a love for hockey, but I feel like that was really when my love of hockey grew. I mean, man, that kid, he was electric on the ice, and to find out that the person on the ice matched the person off the ice is more than anything. It's well needed in today's society, and it's very disappointing that we had to say goodbye to not one but two of those people, because everything I've heard about Matty Gaudreau has been exactly the same about Johnny. They're just selfless, loving people who now both leave behind two kids because somebody just couldn't take an Uber or have somebody give them a ride home. I mean,
they were an asshole.
Yeah.
That's what it boils down to at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I mean, to see his reaction whenever he found out that he's going to be held until tomorrow, Thursday, like a whole week or whatever after this incident, he just sat there and was like, I'm going to be here till Thursday? And that was his reaction to being held for 72 hours because he killed two people.
It is kind of funny, the audacity that guy thought that he had.
I don't even care,
to think that he could, that the guy's getting paid $9.8 million. I think you probably have no idea who he is, but the city of Columbus and that organization, that franchise,
aside from all that,
but still,
even if it wasn't even if it wasn't Johnny and his brother, it's still a horrible thing. Like, it doesn't matter if it was a quote unquote celebrity or not. I mean, like,
it's the audacity that he murdered 2 people, and then he thinks he could get
how
away.
many times a day? Like, just because people can't swallow their pride and say, "Hey, I need a ride home. I can't drive myself." Like, come on.
Well, that too. It's also like, whenever we're driving, don't pass on the right side of whenever they're on the left for a reason. Like, don't go.
Why are you ever undercutting traffic? Like, I get it if you want to pass somebody, but you pass on the left first of all.
That was a 2-lane road too.
Yeah, and the fucking person in front of him was going around Johnny and his brother to the left, like you're supposed to do when there's bikes on the road. You go around to the left, and this jackoff thought he was getting cut off again because he thought. So I guess this was like the second time this guy had tried to pass. The first time the guy passed because Johnny and his brother were in front of the lead car, we'll call it. And he was just going to come out and go around and get right back in front and likely hit them there. So they're going down the road, and the lead car goes to go out and around and pass them on the left and go into like the other lane. Jagoff here thinks he's getting cut off again, so he goes to undercut and go to the inside of the lane, and that's where Johnny and his brother were. So,
in case you did not hear the reports already from actual verified sources,
yeah, I mean,
all alleged still, because it's still got to be going through
still
court
has
of law,
court hearings,
it still has resulted in their death either way.
Yeah,
and yes, this is a travesty, and
yeah, I can't remember exactly, but I don't remember the last time that we had somebody in the league, active in the league, pass away. I mean,
can't think of it really at a professional.
Right. Yeah. Now I know,
like in all of pro sports.
Right.
I mean, you did have Kobe.
Just the NHL.
You had Kobe Bryant shortly after that, and that, still resonates with the basketball community a good bit.
Right. And I mean, like I said, you see all of the tributes and everything, like the entire lot basically out at the Saddle Dome is just a tribute to him. I know I've seen like nationwide, same thing.
That, yes.
Yeah, and I mean, I saw that like some Pens fans had gone out to nationwide to pay their respects and whatnot to Johnny, and yeah, it's very sad. So, I mean, we've talked about it before, but I mean, this season, man, Penguins fans, when Kevin Hayes gets announced, when his name gets announced, please just.
So to explain, just so you're clear on why we're just not going to bash on Kevin Hayes this year, and if you are, you kind of are a piece of shit.
No, you're not kind of. You are a huge piece of shit.
Or you're ignorant. And they could just be ignorant, but that's why you listen to Yin Center.
That's why you're a piece of shit.
This is why you listen to Yin Center, and you get informed.
Right.
So, they don't have to be a huge piese of shit and think that. They could just accidentally think hey, this guy might not be playing good.
So
because let me explain before you get thrown into another tangent. Kevin Hayes and Johnny Gaudreau were also Boston College teammates for one season. That would have been Hayes' senior year, Gaudreau's freshman year.
Yeah, and
putting Gaudreau quickly on the path to relevancy in the NHL. He was a late draft pick, but he started to show Calgary why he was going to be worthwhile after he started producing with Kevin Hayes.
Yeah, and then the year before that, the senior visits or whatever, Kevin Hayes was the one that got to show both Gaudreau brothers around the campus up there at BC too. So, I mean, just that kind of a relationship, and 3 years almost to the day of losing his brother, he loses one of his best friends. I mean,
yes, his brother Jimmy Hayes, also a former Penguin organization member. Don't know if he was a baby Penguin, a Wilkes Penguin, or definitely maybe on a preseason roster Penguin for sure.
Yeah, but yeah, he was played a few other teams around the league.
That's a tremendous amount of young loss for close friends and
for a dude in his
family.
32, 33, something like that.
That is about my age. He is right there.
Yeah. So I mean,
I couldn't fathom it.
No.
Makes me appreciate everything that you got going on every day.
Absolutely, yeah, and I mean,
it's kind of what brings us here on a weekly basis and continuing to bring you guys the show is just that we have a passion for this is what we'd like to do, and one way or another we're putting our thoughts out there, and we wish nothing but the best, and we want the best for everybody. Like, this is a completely unforeseen circumstance. Probably the closest thing I can think of, and not to say it's like of that proportion, but I mean, it is kind of like tragic, and to an expense for this Columbus franchise is kind of similar in that regard.
Yeah. I just was thinking
the KHL's plane crash in 2011.
Well, and then don't forget, Columbus also had a couple of seasons ago, Mattis Kivalenkus. That a whole incident as well. So that would be the last time an active NHL player had passed. But before then,
he was an active professional player. I don't know if he was quite to the NHL level yet, but he was young and making his way.
Games, yeah, I know he had played some games. So yeah, maybe not a consistent NHLer, but
yes, here we are, and that poor team's just going to have. I think there's got to be some kind of disaster.
The NHL's already sent like grief counselors to the entire Columbus organization.
I'm even, and not that it matters at this point.
Right.
I'm talking, because the season we're recording about a little less than a week after Gaudreau's passing. It's currently September 4th. So we are less than about a month away from the season kicking off. Right. And that is, well, if you're eliminating his cap hit, unfortunately, like, they're now below the cap floor.
Right.
So there's that problem, and two, they gotta get like some type of draft pick compensation.
Yeah,
I know, like,
I mean, something's gotta happen there. I mean,
or even two at this point, because with the Kivalenkus, I don't know if there was ever any. There might have snuck in like something one way or the other behind the scenes, but
right.
I mean,
yeah, but I don't.
You're gonna need like $9 million relief, and you're not gonna just find another player like that.
Yeah, there's nobody in them even now. Like, I mean, obviously, like you said, a month before the season starts, you're not gonna find 3 people that can fill the void of a Johnny Gaudreau in your lineup, let alone outside of it. So
is that special and that unique, and just kind of always thinking just the Hockey Brothers, man. Like, that's like could have just as easily been us.
Yeah.
Not to make it about us.
No, but it definitely puts every day into perspective. I mean,
you're wheeling around, like, who's to say like some asshole doesn't just decide to hit you.
I mean, I had those kinds of thoughts before this. I mean, it's definitely something that I don't ever take for granted now. I mean, not that I did before, but just being able to do it whenever, it doesn't seem like it's something that can be done. But with it, like I said, with this whole new perspective, it's just like, huh.
And then the bond that you get from playing that sport, and the more and more of the stories that you hear pouring out from all these outlets about how two wonderful of human beings that these people were. No, like, not a bad word from anybody. Not that you'd expect one at a time like this, but
yeah,
like,
right.
Even the stories are like, they almost sound made up, like how nice they are. Kind of almost like a Sid Crosby element. Like,
yeah,
he gives me a lot of like that exact feel out of like, he's just a really good dude, and
yeah, he
just
had
wants to be liked, and he's just really good at hockey.
And he had a pure, like, I mean, you could just see it every time you watched him play. He was one of those guys that just loved the game, and loved everything that came along with it. I mean, you look at the goal that he scored in overtime in Game 7 against Dallas. I mean, you watch that kid celebrate that goal, and it's just, especially now, it's heartbreaking because, like I said, I mean, you could just see the pure joy and love that he had to be playing the game. I mean, and then to come and find out that he had that same joy and love and everything else that comes with it. He had that for his family as well, and his young kids and his wife, and just a day we all hoped and thought would never come and could never come, and here we sit with it.
It feels unreal when it happens, and I mean, good luck to everybody who has to, hands-on deal with this tragedy. The families preparing for a wedding weekend. I understand that, and
yeah, that shook me, man.
That part got me.
Mm-hmm. With yours coming up, that really hit. I mean, like I said, they were in their childhood neighborhood, man. They were in their parents' neighborhood riding their bikes together.
Yep.
The night before their sister's wedding. So, I mean, I couldn't imagine. The entire family, I couldn't imagine being in their shoes. And
a day that's supposed to be known as a great day is going to be was supposed to be like, it was scheduled to be this great day, and then that day is just turned into grieving, and it's beyond your control.
Right.
It sucks. It sucks big time. But it's okay, and we Yin Center is here to continue to bring some brotherly hockey talk to you.
Yeah, this is, I mean,
kind of just
this is where the hockey family shows its real colors. I mean, this is where we come together and support each other and always just, I mean, just try to carry on what he was about, which is like loving the game of hockey, loving family, and just trying to be the best that you can be, not just as a hockey player or an athlete, but as a person away from your craft. It doesn't have to be an athlete, you know what I mean? So, yes, this hurts.
It hurts, and it's one that stings. It's gonna sting for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But our thoughts continue to be with Columbus, Calgary, Boston College. Anyone that's ever gone to an NHL game and watched him play the show he can put on.
Yeah, thankfully I had that privilege.
He was one of the guys that you would go out of your way to go see. That's for sure.
When
he'd come to Pittsburgh.
Well, mine was back whenever we were on the U.S. team. When I was on the U.S. team,
there's that too.
Yeah, we were playing up in Calgary, and we got the honor to go to the Saddle Dome and watch a Flames game. That was something I'll never forget, especially now.
So, thoughts with everybody. And we hope the best. That can, just hope that everyone's mental health can stay the best shape that it possibly can after something like this. So our thoughts are with you all, and we'll see you next time on Yin Center.